Taft campus, well, it goes back to the Eagle's Nest Art Colony, which was here from 1898 to 1942. A group of artists who'd come together for the Chicago World's Fair in 1893 really enjoyed the area and remained, but they wanted to get out of Chicago in the summer because it was hot, humid, crowded, and noisy. And so they looked for a place to come, and they found a wealthy man who owned a farm who let them come and set up an art colony here. That man was Wallace Heckman. That is a painting of Wallace Heckman. A wealthy Chicago attorney who owned all of this land was known as Ganymede Farm. So they set up an art colony. 1898 to 1942, that's when the last member died. His name was Ralph Clarkson. And he's the guy who painted that painting, signatures in the upper right-hand corner. And when he died, the land reverted back to the Heckman family. But Mr. Heckman had died in the 20s. And the Black Hawk statue had been built in his backyard just for fun. People can't comprehend that idea. You'd think you'd have like grants and committees and things like that, but no. So it really belonged to the Heckman's children. And so they converted it into a park. The park bought it, basically the whole farm. And then in 1951, the university acquired 66 acres to create Laredo Taft Field Campus as an outdoor education conference center. Later they acquired 75 more acres, and now we have 141. Really, in the early years, much of the art at the library came about through the art colony. And there's quite a number of Laredo Taft statues up there. And so after the university took over, though, it was no longer an art colony. Now it was a university center, and there were art classes in the summer, but those were no longer, it wasn't really creating art or existing specifically for art like it had originally. Well, when the Taft campus itself opened in 1950, it opened for business in 1954, it originally was run by the College of Education as a place to train teachers. The university, they thought every teacher would benefit by teaching in the outdoors and learning how to do that. But over the years, the purpose changed to where the university no longer does that here. And we do 5th and 6th graders mostly, some 4th, some 7th and 8th, but mostly 5th and 6th graders. Over 7,000 children a year come through here. It's much larger than most people assume. And spend an average of 2 nights, 3 days to learn outdoor education. Well, the reason that the campus as the art colony thrived is it was one day's horse ride from Chicago. What we think of as 2 hours by car took all day in a horse or a carriage. And before the train was here, that's why Mr. Heckman ended up here. He wanted someplace, the wealthy did not want to spend the night, do 2 days of travel. And so that's how Mr. Heckman got here, and then when he extended that offer, it was still a very good idea for them. And so originally the proximity to Chicago, very rural, but still doable in one day, is why we were established. Well, it's enriched the Oregon community in any number of ways. Certainly the whole art legacy, which Oregon prides itself in, grew out of the Eagle's Nest Art Colony. The artists, the painters, you still see painters sometimes just standing there painting. That is part of that original Eagle's Nest Art Colony mentality. The existence of the foundry and all those things grew out of the Eagle's Nest Art Colony. Well, it's a very scenic area. I grew up in the central of Illinois where, really bad, really flat. So, this is quite a little pocket. People, when you show them pictures, can't really believe you're showing them a photo of Illinois. So yes, it certainly has. Also, though, the community was very welcoming originally, and still is. That always helps too. Doesn't matter how pretty it is if the people aren't nice to you. So the artists do still like it here. I think of Oregon as a scenic area, close to Chicago, but a whole different world.